Kelly Frawley. I am a graduate assistant here with the Office of International Education and Development, and I am so excited today to present this Study Abroad 101. I'm really glad that you're considering studying abroad. I think that it can be one of the most transformative, exciting experiences that you can have in college. So I am so excited to talk to you about where to get started with studying abroad and different options that you have. So the first thing to consider when we're thinking about studying abroad is where can you go? Where will you go? So with OID, students who study abroad at App State study abroad at more than 60 different countries in any given year, which is a whole ton. The top countries that we tend to send students to are Spain, Italy, the United Kingdom, Costa Rica, Chile, Australia, Japan, France, Belgium, and South Africa. But that is not to say that you can't go to any other country that you might be interested in. These are just the most popular countries that students at App State tend to go to. And with that in mind, we can send you almost anywhere in the world. There are some countries that might not be options for safety issues, but by and large, anywhere that you want to go to study abroad, we can find a way to get you there. So I am so excited that you are starting to consider this journey because it is something that can be really life-changing, career-changing, and really contribute to a really satisfying, wonderful educational experience, as well as personal development and growth. So I am excited to talk to you about this. But before we really get into, where you're going, when you're going to go, how to apply, you need to know a little bit about the programs that are available to you when you are considering studying abroad. So the first type of program that I want to talk to you about is an exchange program. So essentially what an exchange program is that you are going to be going to another country and you are going to be attending school there. And someone from that country is going to come to the US in your place. And so what that allows to happen is an exchange of tuition. And what this means for you really is that when you are considering doing an App State exchange or an Appalachian exchange, you can do a full exchange, partial exchange, or basic exchange, which just generally means you are going to be paying the App State rate to study abroad, which makes it one of the most affordable options. So again, there's full exchanges, partial exchanges, and basic exchanges. As suggested by the name, full exchanges tend to cover the most. You are billed App State tuition, App State room, and App State board. So going in, if you're already paying for all of these things at App State, you're not really going to have to pay too much on top of that, and it might be a very affordable option for you. A partial exchange would be being billed App State tuition and room, not the meal plan. Now, basic exchange, you are just paid, or you are just billed App State tuition. So these are really awesome things to consider when you are trying to decide kind of how to budget for study abroad and the type of experience that you want to have. So the next type of program that I want to talk to you about is affiliates. Affiliates are companies that offer different destinations that maybe in countries that App State doesn't already have a collaboration with. So let's say you were thinking, I might do an exchange, but you know what, I want to go to this country and App State doesn't have an exchange set up there. It might be worth looking into an affiliate. Now, what an affiliate is it's a company, a study abroad company, or kind of like a third-party study abroad provider that allows students to pay the affiliate rate or the company rate, not the App State rate, like an exchange, to be able to go abroad. And these are companies that we work with. They are reliable, we trust them, and they set up really great experiences for our students. So sometimes these affiliate programs may be a little bit more expensive, they may be less expensive, but it's interesting because something that these affiliate programs oftentimes provide is something that maybe an exchange doesn't always provide, which is a lot of support services, and then as well as excursions, field trips, and cultural activities. So for example, I studied abroad with an affiliate, CEA. I went to Granada when I was in college, and Granada, Spain, and I got to go on an excursion to Morocco for 3 or 4 days. And that was something that was a really cool experience that I would not have been able to have without having gone with the affiliate, at least not in the way that I had. I would have maybe been able to go, but not in that exact way. So this is definitely something to think about as you are considering different programs. Affiliates can be really strong choices depending on your finances and depending what you want to achieve. So our next type of program that I wanted to talk to you about is ISAAP. So the way that I tend to think about ISAAP is a program that offers both exchanges and an affiliate type program. So what I mean by that is there are kind of competitive placements where you can pay app-state tuition and go abroad to a company that, or to a country that ISAAP has a partnership with. You are essentially doing an exchange in this scenario. Or you can do the route of ISAAP that is more like an affiliate where you're paying ISAAP's rate. And that is going to be more similar to the affiliates that we had talked about before. So this is a really interesting option because there are kind of two different ways to do an ISAAP program. So for an exchange, you pay tuition, room and board to App State, and for direct, you pay the cost set out by ISAAP. And the next type of program that I wanted to talk to you all about is faculty-led programs. So this is another popular type of program for students, and it is a great type of program if you want to go abroad with people that have the same background as you and with staff that you may already know, faculty that you may already know. So for a faculty-led program, you are actually going to go abroad with an App State professor and App State students and take an App State class abroad. So let's say I am an English major and I am going to go to London with a professor. I'm making this up off the top of my head. And I'm going to go with a professor who is in the English department. I would go with that professor. I would go with my classmates and we would have an experience there. So we actually have over 70 faculty-led programs every year throughout the summer, winter break, spring break, and fall break. So these are really great options. They can be flexible for your schedule in terms of the length. They are good options to consider. So most departments actually do run programs to different countries. So I know that you might be thinking, you know what, like I have this major and it's really strict and I just don't think that there's going to be a way for me to study abroad. You might look into a faculty-led program. There may be a program already set out within your department that fits your major and your degree that would allow you to study abroad in a way that maybe another program wouldn't. So this is a really good option for that. And students can travel with an App State faculty member and other App State students to receive credit for specific courses. So the thing that's really interesting about this is you don't have to transfer credit back from another university to App State. You are taking an App State class, it just happens to be abroad. So this is definitely one to think about. Our other types of programs that I wanted to mention would be international student teaching. These are for students in the right College of Education. So you must apply for the College of Education to be considered for international student teaching. But this is a really cool option if you are trying to become a teacher and you want to diversify your teaching experience and get that international perspective that can be so valuable. The next option here is to do an international internship. I know this is an option that students tend to get really excited about. It is a really cool and really interesting option. So basically this allows you to go abroad and do an internship, get your internship credit for whatever major that you may have if that is required for your major, and come back to the US and be able to say, hey, not only am I able to do this really cool internship that gave me all of these practical work skills, but I was able to do it in another country. I was able to adapt to maybe a different language, to a different culture, to a different work environment. I am adaptable and I have intercultural skills. Employers love to see this. It is incredible to study abroad in the first place, but then to be able to say, yeah, I can do an internship abroad too. I can work abroad. That shows a lot of flexibility and it is a really cool option. So to be able to do an international internship, a student must successfully fill out the internship inventory with their home department before submitting an application to OIAD. So eventually, finally, the home department is the one that approves all of the international internships. So these are the kind of types of programs in general, right? So now you have an idea of kind of where we're starting, all the information that you need to have to kind of start making these decisions. Now I want to start talking about how to choose your program. where can you start? Because as you can see, there's a lot of options, and it's necessary to narrow it down a little bit to decide on the perfect great program for you. So when we're thinking about exploring programs, I would say that the first most important thing to do is to consider your priorities. So we've listed some priorities that might be possible for certain students, but you may have different priorities. Some ones that we have here are to consider the language of the country. So are you bilingual? Do you speak any other languages? What's your language proficiency in those languages? Would you be comfortable being in a country where the main language is maybe one that is not your first language? What's your priority there? Are you going to try to gain a new language? I know for me, I spoke a little bit of Spanish and wanted to improve my Spanish, so I chose to go to Spain. The next thing to consider here is the length of the program. How long would you like to be abroad? I know for me, I had never lived on my own before when I decided to go abroad. I was a sophomore in college and I wasn't ready for the full challenge of maybe going for a whole year. And I thought, you know what, I want to be challenged, but I don't want to go for a whole year. I don't know if I'm ready yet. And I ended up going for a summer. And that ended up being the perfect length for me. It was not too overwhelming for me. But by the time I finished it, I was like, man, kind of wish I could stay a little longer, which is, I know something that happens a lot is maybe you choose a program that's a shorter length at first and it's perfect for you. And then you're like, wait, now I really want to go abroad again. This was so cool. So this is something to think about is the length of the program, how long you want to be abroad. I would say it's also important to consider your budget. The program that you choose might be impacted by how much you are able to pay. And different programs have different costs. And it's important to start considering that as you decide what program type you are most interested in. So I would say it's really important to explore the programs that we have available on our website. You can search programs on our website by major. So if you say, all right, I am a French major and I want to see programs that OIED has identified for French majors, you can find that on our website, just a list of the kind of programs that we think would be awesome for that type of major. You can also look at programs based on country, location. You can look at it based on continent. There are a lot of different types of programs you can look at. Or let's say you just want to see every program that's offered in a summer semester. You can do that as well. So I would say definitely look at our website to start to get an idea of what we offer. And once you have an idea of what is out there, you can start looking at the specific details of each program that you're interested in. So you might look at things like what classes are offered. You might start to look at things like how much the program is going to cost you, the type of housing that you're going to have, if you're going to be in a homestay or an apartment. These are things to consider as you start to look at what you might do for the program. So once you have started to look at some different programs and have an idea of maybe where you want to go or what type of program and when you want to go, the second step for most students is to connect with an education abroad advisor. So what you'll do is you will make an appointment with our office or come in on walk-in hours on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4 p.m. and you will get set up with an advisor and you'll say, awesome, these are the things I'm considering. Here's where I want to go. Here are the countries I'm interested in. Where do I start? And you can talk to them and ask them any questions you might have, go over anything that might be specific in your situation, and they will be there supporting you through the process of applying. It's a really exciting part of the process. So they'll walk you through the process of applying to a program, finding a program, and making sure that you are making a decision that is great for you. So as you are considering programs, it's also really helpful and very important to consider your academics. So really, students in all majors can study abroad. I think commonly students will think like, oh man, like I have this really rigid program of study. It's just not going to be possible for me to study abroad. But more often than not, our office is able to find creative solutions to allow any student to study abroad. So we are really excited about that. And our education abroad advisors can discuss your course options with you. We will go through the countries and programs that you're interested in and say, hey, here are the programs they offer. Here's what you have left to take. You can compare them and we will decide on a program with you that fits your academics and your other goals really well. Another thing that I think is really helpful is that our website includes program academic strengths for each program. So it shows you, what's the most helpful. Something that I will also point out is that on our website, you can search programs by major. This is So helpful. So let's say like I'm a French major and I'm like, I just want to know the best program for me that's going to keep me on track to graduate on time and have a really enriching experience. Well, you can look up on our website, search programs by major, and you can go and see all the programs that are options that we have identified as really strong programs for, let's say, French majors. It is a really helpful page, and I definitely recommend starting there while you are also looking at other programs. But ultimately, information about course approvals, policies, and equivalencies can be found on the academics page on our OID website. So that is some helpful information there. Another thing that's really helpful to do when you are considering where to study abroad is to reflect on your identities. So a question that I think it's helpful for students to ask themselves is, are there any aspects of your identity that you may want to consider when selecting a program? So oftentimes we have students that are heritage seekers. In other words, their family comes from a specific country or a specific region of the world, and they want to go, you know what, I really want to connect with my heritage. I want to get back to my cultural roots. And they will go abroad to a country that their family might come from, or a country where they may currently have some family. That is something that you might want to consider when you're exploring. And it's also important to consider kind of laws and culture and reception of certain identities in different cultures. So another question to ask yourself is, should you consider laws and access around your identity? Specifically thinking about LGBTQ students, are there maybe countries that may be more accepting and more advocates for LGBTQ students than other countries? This is something to consider when you are deciding on where to go abroad. We want to support you every step of the way and help you make a decision that is great for you. On our website, we have a student identity section that can help you kind of think through some of these questions, specifically thinking about things around disability, gender, sexuality, race, ethnicity. These are things that are really helpful to consider when you're deciding where to study abroad. So again, it's always really important to think about your finances. It is never too early to start thinking about how you're going to fund studying abroad. So you want to think about things like, how much does the program cost? What is the cost of living in the city that I'm trying to go to? In other words, how much is it going to cost me to do things like rent, eating, if you have to pay for utilities, which may or may not be a problem for you, likely is not, but something to consider. It is important to think about things like currency exchange rates and financial aid eligibility. This is all stuff that you can explore on our funding webpage, on our website, and it is something that we would love to talk to you about in our office, is how are you going to fund your experience, because we can find ways to make study abroad affordable and achievable for you. So again, kind of thinking more about funding your experience abroad, I want to talk a little bit more about this in depth. So first of all, financial aid. Most of your financial aid can be used towards the cost of a study abroad program. And I think that's something that surprises students a lot. If you're getting financial aid right now, you can typically apply that financial aid to your study abroad program. So let's say you're doing an exchange where you're paying the app state rate for tuition, room and board, and you already get scholarships, you can expect your financial situation to look somewhat similar to how it does right now. But this is something that you can always discuss with financial aid. They are going to be your best resource to decide, which of your scholarships would apply, and if any would not. The other option here is OID scholarships. So our office actually offers scholarships to students who are considering studying abroad. We believe so much in the mission of study abroad, and we are so excited about sending students abroad that we're like, yes, we want to give you money, like please apply. So we are trying to get you abroad. There are 3 rounds of applications every year, and you can apply and receive a scholarship before studying abroad, which is definitely recommended. I would say definitely apply before you go abroad. I applied for a scholarship in previous semesters, and I applied for a scholarship at my previous institution, and that funding can really help out. The funding tends to be between $250 and $2,000, just depending on the length of your program, how expensive your program is, and different factors like that. But I would say definitely apply. The application is not intimidating, and we really want to help you go abroad. There are also outside scholarships to consider, like the Gilman Scholarship, the Freeman Asia Scholarship, affiliate scholarships, the Boren, and CLS. I want to point your attention specifically to the Gilman Scholarship. If you are Pell Grant eligible, you are typically eligible to apply for the Gilman Scholarship, which is a scholarship that funds a huge portion of your study abroad experience. The Gilman is looking for diverse applicants, not only in their identities, but also in their majors and where they're planning to go. So students who might not typically study abroad, if you are a student maybe in STEM in a really rigid academic program, and students in STEM maybe don't study abroad as much, that might be something that would be to your advantage on this application. Or if you want to go to what's considered a non-traditional country, or a country that is not typically one of the most popular study abroad countries, then you might be more eligible for a Gilman scholarship. So I would say definitely look into these scholarships. We would be happy to talk to you about them. And I know the Office of Nationally Competitive Scholarships on campus would love to talk to you about this as well. So we want you to apply as soon as you're ready to. We want you to start thinking about applying. On this page here, we have some information about how to apply. You can go on the individual program brochure, pages and click on the Apply Now button at the top of the page. That's how you're going to access it. Log in with your App State username and password. Select the term that you want to apply. So let's say you want to go in fall of 2022. You would select fall of 2022. Submit all of the application materials that we will prompt you submit. And once all of your application materials have been submitted, we will review your application, and approved applications will receive an email with next steps. And eventually there will be a $260 charge for the application that will be placed on your account. But this is something that would be a little further down the line and not something to worry about right now, just something to consider that would eventually happen. So again, I want to talk a little bit more about applying. These are the really important deadlines to consider. So if you are planning to study abroad in a fall academic year study abroad program, the application is due on February 15th of the semester before the semester that you're planning to study abroad. So you're planning to study abroad in fall, you would have to do it on February 15th of the semester before. If you are planning on studying abroad in spring, then you would need to submit your application by September 15th of the semester before when you're trying to study abroad. So yeah, you're planning on studying abroad in spring, you're going to fill out the application in fall by September 15th. If you are planning on doing a summer non-faculty-led study abroad program, you are going to submit your application by March 15th of this semester before you are planning to go abroad. And if you are planning to do a faculty-led program, the deadlines to apply for faculty-led programs vary. So just get in touch with us and we will be happy to talk to you about when you need to submit your application materials by. But these deadlines tend to stay pretty much the same year to year. So these are really helpful things to consider when you're trying to start your application, which we hope that you do very soon because we are so excited for you. So to wrap things up, we hope that you come visit us. We are the Office of International and Education and Development in the Plymouth Student Union, Suite 321. So we are on the 3rd floor of the Plymouth Student Union, right by the staircase. Can't miss us. We are the room with the pretty red walls and cool decorations all around. So we would be happy to help you out. And I definitely recommend coming to walk-in hours. These are Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4 p.m. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email us at studyabroad@appstate.edu and visit us on our website at international.appstate.edu. Our phone number is listed here, so if you have any questions, you can give us a call. But we are so excited for you to start your study abroad journey. We can't wait to help you throughout the way. I think that this is going to be a wonderful experience for you. And thank you so much for attending. Please feel free to reach out and we hope to see you soon.